Why is it so hard to say the Netherlands? I want to take you guys back to 2017 where it all started.
Back in 2017, I moved to Rotterdam, Netherlands to pursue a bachelor's degree in International Business Administration at the Rotterdam School of Management in the Erasmus University. I went there with my family, and honestly, it's so crazy looking at all of this footage because back then I didn't realize that these would have been like the streets that I'd be walking past regularly. This was taken right in front of where I lived in my third year. Like, who would have thought?
Hey guys, welcome to the long-awaited Study in the Netherlands series that I promised you guys to make about 2 months ago. But today we're finally doing this. In this series I'll be reflecting back on the 3 most transformative years of my life, I think. Where, I was in the Netherlands studying, getting that bachelor's degree, which I did get. I can show you the email, see? But yeah, it's basically just gonna be me chilling, talking to you guys about my experiences and everything that went down. Like, the goods, the bad, the ugly, the ups and downs, everything that went down when I was there. In this first video, I'm gonna be covering the basics, like basically the transition of first moving there and like how I settled in, what my concerns were, and how I basically overcame it in the first few months. I'm wearing this outfit today because it's basically how I looked like in the first year. Like, it's 12 degrees outside, I'm catching my tram, going to my 11 a.m. lectures kind of vibe, because I just want to get in that mood. I want to take you guys back to 2017 where it all started. So, it was nice that my parents were there, because it's like, I'd never been to Europe, it's like a little mini family vacation. The only difference is that I wasn't gonna go home with them. Obviously, 3 years ago when I was 18, I still had a lot of fears. I was still a little scared, and I was gonna be living on my own. And I think that's like my main concern, just settling in, trying to figure everything out by myself, taking care of myself. I didn't know anyone in Rotterdam, so it was also like another responsibility to take on, to like get to know people, meeting people, seeing if anyone would want to help me out. And I didn't speak any Dutch. The only thing I could say was like goeiemorgen or something like that. Also, on top of that, as a first year, I needed to complete 60 credits. Basically means that I needed to pass all my first year subjects in order to move on, otherwise I can get kicked out. Let's just dive into the first thing, because I feel like settling in and being content with like where you are and what you're there for is like the most important thing before you can start figuring out what you want to do next. So my first room was basically, it wasn't provided by university. Like, they do provide student housing for first years, but I was a little too late for that. And I did find a room super close to the university in the area, 7 minutes by bike and 3 tram stops away, so it was a really good location. In terms of like the administrative stuff, like registering with the municipality, getting a bank account, insurance, there was like a one-stop shop on campus, and also like I was prepared for that. I had everything listed down. I was ready for that. I was able to take care of that pretty easy. It's a pretty straightforward process, so you don't really need to worry about that. But the next thing, I feel like the hardest thing that I struggled with when living alone is cooking. Because I am not a chef. I was not raised to be one, so I was like, my first meal, you guys, was so embarrassing. I look at it every year and I'm like Snapchat reminds me every year, and I'm like... And then, I got introduced to Spar on campus, introduced to like other foods, like Kapsalon, Happy Italy, school food at the food plaza, bro. I'm gonna make a separate video for that. You tune in for that. And also like about living by myself, it was just a weird feeling, like, because I'm just so not used to having to take care of myself. There's no curfew and you're basically free to do whatever you want to do. Like, you're basically responsible for everything you do, and I think that's something that can be a bit hard for people. For me as well, I was like, okay, like, what do I do next? Like, usually when I'm home, it's like I just follow the flow of what my family is doing, I guess. And then when I was there, I was just like, like dropped in to like this like space, all this space, and I'm just like dropped in, and I'm like, okay, what do I do now? And honestly, I'm so glad that I did get to meet people that were also like having the same experience, so I'm really grateful for that. Which brings us to the next point of meeting people. I did make some good friends when I was there. I'm just thinking of my friends. I miss my friends. In the beginning, I had the opportunity of meeting so many people, like people from different countries, people from different backgrounds, like people in my course itself. It's pretty I was fully prepared for a culture shock. Like, I was like, okay, bring in the internationals. Like, I want to meet all these people from Europe. Like, I've had European friends before. I've had people from like all these different countries before. So I was excited to like meet even more new people because I'm such a curious person. I always want to know like where people come from and all that, like because everyone's raised so differently that I'm just like, oh my god, like I want to know this. I came all the way here, like what's the point of coming all the way here if I'm not like meeting new people, you know, and get that international experience. So in order to do that, you really need to be open to like meeting new people that you're not familiar with. I was at an advantage because I did go to school in Singapore and I had met people from other countries as well, so it's like for me it wasn't like that big a deal, and it's totally understandable if you've never had that experience, and I think it's like such a good opportunity for you to do this. So I met these people basically through school, like from the IBA group, from the freshman weekend, mentor group, lectures, group projects, and of course parties. Like I feel like my advice if you really want to get to know people from outside of your country is that you just need to be more open. You need to be curious about where this person is coming from, because chances are they're willing to do the same. They're probably also curious about you. But then I ended up hanging with Indonesians anyway. It's not a problem because honestly like it also gives you a bigger perspective of everything, because like there's really nothing wrong with hanging out with people from your own country in a foreign country, because it's like you're all kind of in the same situation where you've all come from the same place but you're kind of like stuck in this foreign country, so it's kind of like a home away from home kind of thing. So it was really nice. It really helped me go through some difficult phases of like missing home and everything. Ended up becoming an active member in the Indonesian Association in the PPI. And honestly, like, I don't regret that. Like, it was nice. This is also something that I would want to talk about in a separate video, because I feel like the whole PPI experience is something that I would want to share. So yeah, I'm really glad that I was able to make friends with internationals and also Indonesians in Rotterdam. It's really fun getting to know people, like, knowing people. Like, I've become pretty popular myself, you know? Moving on to language. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be hard, like living in a country where they don't speak English as like their main language. But then like even when I was still like in Jakarta, I was told that Dutch people are very easygoing. They really don't mind switching to English if you don't speak Dutch. And honestly, that proved to be true. Like I didn't really have problems trying to get around, because like they'd speak to you in Dutch in the beginning, and then if you say like, sorry, I don't speak Dutch, they'd be like, oh no, it's okay, you know. But what I also learned is that they really appreciate when you try. So it's like you don't have to, but it would be nice if you could try. And actually, like I did go to Dutch lessons and tried, and I'm still doing Duolingo right now. I'm still trying, because honestly, like after a while living there, you will pick up the language anyway. Like you go to the Albert Heijn or something, and they ask you if you want the receipt. You just say, "Nee, dankjewel." You know, like it's fine. Like it's easy to pick up anyway. At least for me, like I was able to pick it up pretty easily. I don't know. I wouldn't advise you not to learn it, because it's always nice to learn a new language. You know, my concerns quickly went down because it was fine. Like, school is in English, everything is in English. It's just like it just got a bit hard when you're like the only person in a group setting that's not Dutch, because they will speak Dutch or like be forced to speak English, and sometimes I would feel like a little bad. So it's nice because by the end of the third year, I understood a little bit. So it's like I'd be like, no, it's okay, it's okay. You don't have to translate it every time, but just know that I will zone out sometimes because it's just so hard. Like I just can't speak it yet. It's just embarrassing when I try to speak Dutch. I don't know, like. I'm so sorry, but I do try. And yeah, like if anything, just speak English. Just use your English to like communicate with people, because the thing is like if you go to an international program, like chances are there are also people who don't usually speak English. So like if you're also a little bit insecure about your English, they'll understand, you know? They're like, yeah, it's okay. It really doesn't have to be perfect, because you'll just learn as you go. It's so hypocritical of me to say this about English, because that's what every Dutch person says to me, like, just use it, just speak it, but I'm like, I can't. Wow, I'm just realizing that now. Like, moving on to the last thing is about studying. Now, I have to admit that it really wasn't easy in the beginning because I kind of struggled to sort out my priorities in the beginning, like dividing, trying to settle in, trying to get used to living there, spending time with friends, and also trying to feed myself proper, nutritious, delicious food without having to spend so much money. And also with studying, so it was a little like, how do I divide my time? In the beginning, honestly, I thought it was pretty similar to high school, which I was wrong. So I thought like, it's fine, I learned it in high school, but turns out it's like 10 times more, or 20 times even, so it made me flop my midterms. But it's okay because you can make it up in the finals, or if not, you have the resits. But obviously you're gonna wanna try to not have to do it. But what I'm trying to say is like, it's fine if you flop in the beginning, because you're trying to get used to this new life and it really does take time. So just take it easy on yourself and it's gonna be fine. Excuse me. So like, it really helped me that I met a bunch of friends and a lot of people who were also on the same page and that I was able to relate to, so I wasn't necessarily like alone in this whole situation. And also I met like a bunch of people from like the upper grades who's been there, so like, I would just like to thank you for like listening to my rants, giving me all the summaries. Wouldn't have been able to do it without you. Thank you. You know who you are. But yeah, honestly, like, to sum everything up, I feel like in the 3 years that I was in the Netherlands, I learned a lot of things. First of all, Netherlands is such a pretty country. Everything is like, compared to Indonesia, like, everything is so close by, everything is connected, and you can easily just take the train to go to the other side of the country, and it's really nice. Even though sometimes the trains do like cancel without telling you, but that's a whole different story. But other than that, it's super nice being there. And also like, the people there are super nice. I feel like I haven't really had like any bad experiences with people, like people in the supermarket, people in the customer service. Like, even like one time I lost my wallet and like everyone was super helpful. Everything was done within that week. And also like, the people from the university as well, your classmates, everyone's so open to getting to know you, willing to help you. And honestly, like, yeah, I really don't regret going there. And like, school, obviously it's tough, but like everything, if there's a will, there's a way, and I really was determined to get that done in 3 years, and I did that, so it was great. Moving into a new country when you're so young is really not easy, and you really just have to take the time to get used to it. And reach out to people if you need to, because obviously there's 500 people in your class alone, and there's people who are willing to help you around, so it's really useful to just use the help. Don't be afraid to try new things, don't be afraid to get to know people, and if you think that it's something you really want to do, then try it, and if it flops, then it's fine, because you're still young. You have a long time to try to improve, to become better. I feel like this is what I told myself in the first year, because I was really like, oh my god, like when I failed my first midterms, I felt like it was like, bro, like there's no way I just failed this exam. And at the end of the day, I made up for it. Like, I divided my time and I ended up with 1 resit, but I did it. I passed it. And it was fine. So yeah, like, you're gonna be okay. And I don't know what else to say, so I guess that concludes this first video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Tune in for the next one, because the next couple ones are gonna be about like, the social life. About the social life, about food, hang out with people, going to parties, and all those crazy things that you can expect besides staying in the library or in the Polak building from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. the next day. Like, those are the things that you need to expect. If you have anything else that you want me to talk about, please drop it in the comments below, or DM me on Instagram. I'll maybe open another question box for you. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Hopefully coming up next week. I'm really trying to get myself to be as productive as I can in these trying times in the pandemic where I can't really go outside. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a good day. Hope you're staying safe, and I'll see you guys later.